Greetings everyone, I am the Hipster Snek. Welcome to our Halloween block. For the month of October, we'll be looking at games that feature Halloween-like themes and motifs. And to kick off the seasonal festivities, what could be more in the spirit of Halloween than monsters? And then killing said monsters in over-the-top anime-esque style and subsequently wearing their hides as stylish fashion statements. Today we look at the high-flying, amazing Koei-TECMO action hunting game, Toukiden 2. Released in March 2017 in the Western world as a direct sequel to Toukiden Age of Demons. It takes place 2 years after the Great War scene in that title. We then learn in the prologue of an ongoing war between demons and slayers, a dedicated force trained to kill said demons. An event known as the Awakening, however, caused an endless horde of demons to be funneled into the world, and your slayer awakens from a 10-year coma with a nasty case of amnesia, but the skills to end the demonic invasion. So then we get to custom order our own slayer, pick our favorite weapon, with detailed weapon tutorials included, and set to the task of making demons into memories and upholstery. To start, especially for a game that came out across multiple types of hardware, including its initial release in the PS Vita, the game looks sharp, easily rivaling other hunting games of its time. The monsters look really cool, truly looking horrendous, otherworldly abominations meant to be slain. And so naturally, the heroic slayers look awesome, especially since combat's very dynamic and involves a lot of running and sailing through the air. The entire game just feels like it happens on a truly epic scope, and I've never seen the game drop frames, even on weaker end PCs, so it'll all happen with a smooth and steady frame rate. And while that's to be expected from a Vita port, the game still is stylistic and as appealing as it could be. Audio-wise, the game is serviceable. I admit the soundtrack could use a bit more life in it, but it gets the job done. I'll also admit I tend to put on my own music playlist in the background, since I feel that if I'm fighting Godzilla with a naginata, I feel like I ought to be doing it with some high-flying guitars behind it all. From a sound standpoint, sound effects are really where the game will ultimately shine, as each slash and bash has a profound stated impact with deliberate, stark audio accompaniment. And as for voice acting, it's all in the original Japanese. It never got dubbed, so I really can't pass judgment on the language that I don't speak. But it sounds good from what I can tell, I guess. I think that's fair. Now, where this game, and any hunting game really, shines brightest is in its gameplay, and Toukiden 2 has it in spades. I must confess ignorance to the gameplay of the first game of the series, but the second is no slouch. You start with the basic model of each of the game's many weapons, ranging from your standard samurai katana, the giant metal boxing gloves, to a chain and sickle, to spears, and even a bow and arrow and a rifle. Each weapon feels meaningfully distinct from all the others, each with its own set of quick, heavy, and special attacks that can be chained together fluidly. And during the latter half of the tutorial, you'll also get the Demon Hand, a reaching, clawed hand that can grab enemies, allowing you to pull small ones closer to you, or pull yourself closer to large ones, or even cause massive damage after a brief charge period. It'll deal enough force in one blow to sever an Oni's limb in totality. And that is one of the coolest things about this game. You can target individual Oni limbs. So not only can you break off horns or lop off a tail, you can hack off whole arms and legs, forcing the Oni to move around the field with progressively greater handicaps. Now, the Oni are forces of darkness, and like all such forces of evil, they don't tend to play fair. Eventually they can summon their dark power and cast magical facsimiles of their limbs to replace any that they lost. This means that you'll be in for one heck of a fight every single time. Thankfully, Slayers are a pack hunting breed. Even when playing completely solo, you can bring up to 3 NPC allies, each with their own sets of weapons, armors, and skills to call their own. Ah, right, can't forget that. This is a hunting game, so of course there's armors. Armors are obtained in the usual way of killing monsters and taking those parts to make new weapons and armors. This is actually explained a bit more in-depth, as traditional steel weapons are only effective against the smallest, weakest Oni types. Thus, for once, it actually answers the "where did the first Oni part weapons and armors come from" in a rather elegant way. In an interesting twist in this tradition, though, armor literally only dictates your defense. Though defense comes in 3 flavors: physical, magical, and elemental. Generally speaking, armors will favor them in some descending order of primary, secondary, and tertiary. Completely different system altogether, the Mitama, or spirits of heroes and mythical figures, are in charge of granting you your active and passive abilities, which you can refine over time by using them over several hunts. You can have any 3 Mitama active at a time, the first dictating your active skill set, and the latter 2 are in charge of what passives are active and available. though some of these will only work in conjunction with certain weapons, so mix and match and see what works best for your playstyle. It's all about customization, so you can be a fashion slayer and have all the skills that you want. I'm already a big fan of games that have character customization, so the fact that I get to make my own character, pick my own NPC army, weapon, armor, and Mitama is all great, but it gets even better. The game, outside of the hub town, are broken up into expeditions and slaying quests. The latter set of quests, the biggest bit of the game, can be done completely in multiplayer mode if you want. And since you can pick NPCs to fill any vacant squad slots, maximum of 4, you can go with friends and play together through the better portion of the game. The expeditions have their own rewards as well, as you can find additional Mitama or strange little rabbit creatures that pop up randomly. You can even drive back the demonic miasma, making future expeditions safer and expanding the fields you can explore for additional materials. Oh right, let's hit on that for a sec. I feel there's one mechanic, or really I should say, lack of a mechanic, that makes the overall flow of Toukiden 2 a little bit different than most hunting games. For example, this is my current armor. Every part of it comes from just one Oni, and there are 5 parts that constitute it. Go ahead and guess how many times I had to grind out that same Oni in order to complete this armor. Go ahead, think about it. I'll give you a second to mull it over. Ready? Got your guess? Here's how many. 5. I had to run it 5 times because one of the parts only dropped when the Oni actually died. Yeah, this game does not suffer the stupidly low percentage drop rate that many of its peers do. The game consists, as a result, of very little actual grinding. You'll always be moving forward looking for bigger challenges, more Mitama, and more areas to explore, all the while conquering progressively bigger battles against the Oni hordes. Man, I wish more hunting games embraced that mentality. I could rant and rave for hours about everything this game has to offer, but I feel the game speaks for itself. If you want a game that's a high-flying, fast-paced, co-op-ready good time, then round up your Slayer buddies and take the fight to the monsters this Halloween. Toukiden 2 is available on Steam and even includes several bonus features if you played the PC port of the first game, Toukiden Kiwami. Are there downsides? Well, sure. For starters, despite first coming out in 2016 on 4 different SKUs, including the PS3 and the PS Vita, it's still at full retail price on Steam at $60. I think this point might deter some people who would otherwise be very keen to play it. I mean, it's still a PS Vita port. Remember, the chain is only as strong as its weakest link, and even the Hyperdimension Neptunia games have a little self-awareness in terms of their Steam pricing. I feel that until that's addressed, Koei-TECMO is going to miss out on a big market share that otherwise would have really enjoyed this experience. Second, there's this undercurrent while in town of political unrest in the hub, and you're even sort of asked to pick sides in certain issues, but that never actually comes to a head and it feels very tacked on and forced. If you're gonna pull me in 2 directions, at least incentivize me in making a choice in the first place. And other than that, all I really wanted from the game was more. I want Toukiden 3. All in all, it's an amazing, fast-paced action game that never stops being entertaining. Between its really clever writing, its solid gameplay engine, online co-op, and fantastic customization, you really should join the slang this Halloween. I mean, why let the monsters be the only one having fun, right? This has been the Slayer Snek. If you enjoyed today's video, tap that like button to let me know. You can even hit the subscribe and bell icons to be informed when new content goes live, and it will every week. If you want to help fund my crusade against the monsters, you can even become a patron at my Subscribestar page, link in the description. This October, as I said, we're doing more Halloween-related content. Join me right here for the entire month for more Halloween goodness, and I'll see you there.